There's a moment early in Naruto where Hinata's cousin Neji tells her, and us, that fate is fixed, that where you're born determines where you end up, that trying to escape your destiny is pointless, and the show frames this as Neji's trauma talking, his bitterness, his wrong worldview that Naruto will eventually correct. But here's the thing nobody says out loud. Neji isn't wrong about the Hyuga clan, he's describing it accurately. The Hyuga clan runs on a hereditary caste system enforced by a cursed seal that causes excruciating pain or death on command. The branch family exists to protect the main family and is literally branded to ensure that they never rebel. That's not Neji being cynical, that's just how the Hyuga clan works. And this clan operates freely inside of Konoha, the village that preaches the will of fire, found a village, protect your own. That same village looks at a family branding its members like livestock and says nothing, does nothing for generations. So today, we're not going to talk about Hinata's character arc or Neji's redemption, we're talking about the institution, because the Hyuga clan isn't just a dark family secret, it's Konoha's darkest secret too. Let's be clear about what we're talking about, because the show introduces the caged bird seal and then kind of moves past it before you've got a chance to sit with it and what it actually means. The Hyuga clan is split into two families, the main house and the branch house. The branch house exists specifically to protect the main house and, crucially, to protect the Byakugan from falling into enemy hands. To enforce this, every branch family member gets a curse seal placed on their forehead as children. This seal does two things. It allows the main house members to cause the branch member intense pain at will, and it destroys the Byakugan upon the branch member's death so it can't be stolen. The second function gets used as the justification for the whole system. It's about protecting the clan's secrets, but think about what that actually means in practice. You're targeting children, branding them permanently, placing their pain and their death under the control of another family, and calling it protection. And nobody in this clan chose this. Branch family members are born into it. Neji didn't commit a crime, his father didn't either. Hizashi, Neji's father, Hiyashi's twin brother, was placed in the branch family specifically because he was born second. The difference between Hiyashi running the clan and Hizashi wearing the seal is which twin came out first. That's not a clan system. That's generational punishment for the crime of birth order. Now let's talk about the specific incident the show calls the Hyuga affair, because this is where it stops being a clan's internal problem and becomes Konoha's problem. An ambassador from the Cloud Village visits the Leaf during peace negotiations. While he's there, he tries to kidnap Hinata, a child, to steal the Byakugan for the Cloud Village. Hiyashi catches him in the act and kills him. The Cloud demands a body in exchange as compensation for the death of their ambassador. Specifically, they want a Hyuga body with the Byakugan intact, or they'll treat the incident as an act of war. And Konoha's leadership agrees to this. They hand over Hizashi. Now, Hizashi volunteers. The show makes sure you know that. He chooses to die so his brother doesn't have to, and so that the Byakugan seal activates on his death and denies the Cloud the information they wanted anyway. It's framed as a sacrifice, as a noble act. But here's what the framing obscures. The reason Konoha could even offer Hizashi in the first place, the reason that this was a viable diplomatic solution, is because the caged bird seal system made him a disposable asset. A branch member's life was already structurally worth less than a main house member's. Konoha didn't create that structure in the moment. They just used one that was already built into the clan they've been hosting for generations. And Neji grew up knowing this, knowing his father died not because of enemy action, but because of a system that his own village endorsed. That's what his fatalism is actually about. It's not about abstract philosophy, it's lived experience. This is the part where I think gets glossed over completely in how the show presents the Hyuga clan, and it's the most damaging part. Konoha knows about the caged bird seal. It's not a secret. The Hyuga are one of the most prominent clans in the village. Hinata is in the ninja academy. Neji is a prodigy who shows up to the tuning exams with a forehead seal visible to everyone. No one is hiding this, which means the village, including its leadership, has made a quiet, ongoing decision that a hereditary caste system enforced by a pain and death seal is acceptable. That children being branded at birth is just a clan's internal business, not something that requires intervention, not something that conflicts with the village's stated values. Compare this to how the show treats other forms of injustice. Naruto being mistreated as a child, the show frames this as a failure, something that was wrong, something the adults around him should have done better. Sasuke losing his clan, tragedy, requiring grief and reckoning. Even Gaara's abuse at the end of his village gets treated as something that produced a broken, dangerous person who needed healing. The Hyuga caste system produced Neji, angry, fatalistic, convinced that people are trapped by birth, and the show's response is to have Naruto punch it out of him at the Chunin exams and call that resolution. Neji changes his mind, and then he dies in the war, and the caged bird seal presumably continues operating in the Hyuga clan into Boruto's era. And nobody in the narrative ever says the system is wrong wrong and Konoha should have stopped it. That silence is a choice the show makes, and it's interesting that the show is willing to put Konoha on trial for the Uchiha massacre eventually, but never for this. Here's the thread I want to pull on, because it connects directly to everything we covered in the series. The Hyuga affair and the Uchiha massacre aren't isolated incidents. They're both products of the same institutional logic. Konoha's leadership decides that certain clans, certain lives, certain people exist to serve the village's interest, and when those interests conflict with the people's well-being, the village chooses its interest. With the Uchiha, the village isolates a clan, engineers a coup, and then uses one of the clan's own members to eliminate the rest. With the Hyuga, the village hosts a clan that runs on inherited slavery, uses a branch member as a diplomatic bargaining chip, and calls it a tragedy but necessary outcome. In both cases, the institution never examines itself. Nobody is held accountable. The narrative moves on. The Wheel of Fire gets invoked somewhere nearby, and somehow that's supposed to paper over the gap between what Konoha says it is and what it actually does. The Hyuga affair is smaller in scale than the massacre, but in some ways it's more revealing because it's not a crisis moment, it's not a coup, it's not even a war, it's just a Tuesday. It's just how the village runs and nobody blinks. So what's the Hyuga clan's darkest secret? It's not the caged bird seal exactly. Everyone in Konoha knows about that. It's not even what happened to Hisashi. That's tragic, but at least it came from a crisis. The darkest secret is that none of it is a secret. Konoha has watched a family brand its children for generations and decided that it's not a problem. The Wheel of Fire applies to some people more than others, and the show, which is usually pretty willing to criticize Konoha when it needs to, never quite makes Konoha answer for this one. Neji dies believing the caged bird is open, but the cage was always real, and the village that built its identity on protecting people never once tried to unlock it. But what do you guys think? Do you think Konoha should have intervened in the Hyuga clan's caste system, or is this generally a clan's internal business that outsiders shouldn't touch? I'd love to get y'all's thoughts, so let me know in the comment section below. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, click the card you see here, which will take you to my video on Neji's death and why I think it was overall dumb. I'm the curly haired Okage, and I hope you all have an amazing and blessed day. Peace.